Hello and welcome to a slightly different video. We usually shy away from these on our channel. This is a full review of the GAC Emkoo Executive Plus, which we drove over the holidays. While the press fleet shut down, they lent us this car for about a month, mid-December 2024 to mid-January 2025, which we are nearing. Yeah, and we're going to tell you all about it. So we should probably do the intro with the logo and the three little video thumbnail things, like now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to break this video down into 4 parts. We usually do that with our classic car documentaries, which we've done 2 of, Mercedes W116 and Volkswagen City Golf. We are working on the W123 Mercedes, I promise. Yeah, so the first bit is basically what it is. Second part, hopefully this will come up as chapters. Second part is specs, key dimensions, all of that. Third one is pros and cons, and then the fourth one is buyer's advice. Should you buy one? Would I buy one? Yeah, and I've brought some notes, so I should probably stop just now and read you these. But essentially, GAC stands for Guangzhou, I'm probably butchering that, sorry, Guangzhou Automobile Group. And they are, according to the internet, the 5th largest automotive manufacturer in China. And the Emkoo is actually marketed as a Trumpchi in its native market. But here in Southern Africa, they came into the market in August 2024, I believe, with a smaller sort of sporty crossover thing called the M Zoom, and then the slightly bigger luxurious Emkoo. And as for this car, we only get 1 drivetrain and 2 models. The only difference is specifications. You get an executive for about 600,000 Rand, and this Executive Plus is 660,000 Rand, thereabouts. Except something amazing has just happened. On the 9th of Jan 2025, GAC Motor Southern Africa announced a price drop, which I've been racking my brain. I don't think we've ever had that. You do get better value, they'll put more specs in a car, but you never ever hear like we've slashed 80k off the Land Cruiser, or the C-Class is now 50,000 cheaper. Sometimes you get like trade assistance or something, but at the end of the day, the amount of money that goes out of your bank account is never less, ever. Please correct me if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. Keep your hands on the wheel at all times. The GAC Emkoo is now, let me actually stop for this bit. This model is 100,000 Rand cheaper. Yeah, it's now 559,900. And the entry-level one, which has got amazing specs as well, the Executive, is 519. So that's 90,000 Rand cheaper, and this one is 559, which is 100,000 Rand cheaper. At about 1,000 Rand per tank, not a complete fill-up, you'd be looking at 100 tanks of fuel, just in the saving that they did now. Obviously, people who've just bought one recently might be a bit upset, and the entire rest of the market will be a bit upset by this. Anyway, let's keep going, and I'll tell you more about the car. Right, so a GAC Emkoo is basically a medium size, wherever you live. In my books, it's a medium size luxury crossover slash SUV, 5-seater, 5-door, and like I said, we only have the 2 models, which are spec different or spec dependent. They all have the same drivetrain. It's a 1.5 litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder inline, transversely mounted, with a 7-speed DCT, dual clutch transmission. I'm not a big fan of those, you'll find out just now as well. It's basically an automated manual transmission. It only has 2 pedals. It works like an automatic, but it is actually a robotized manual. There's a little robot changing clutches for you, and it doesn't always get it right. Front wheel drive only. We don't get all-wheel drive, we don't get hybrids, we don't get turbo diesels, so this is the only spec you get. In fact, I can give you hardcore specs. It's a 1497 cc engine. I'll put in the cubic inches and all of that as well. It delivers 130 kilowatts at 5,500 RPM, which is pretty much where the engine shifts. I have a theory about that in a moment. It's got 270 Newton meters of torque, which come on from 1,400 RPM. That's actually not too bad, and it is quite a gutsy little engine. Front wheel drive, we did say that. In their brochure, they call it a mega wave power engine, which sounds amazing. And it's the 7WDCT golden powertrain. I think that refers to the gearbox. And it's a Megastar chassis, so everything is like mega and golden. That must be good, right? Okay, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, there is no claim, but we did it in insert number here. I actually did it myself, and I forgot, I think it was 9.4 seconds. I'm banking that one. I did a couple of runs in all the various drive modes, and there were some key differences there too. GAC motor claims a top speed of 190 kilometers an hour. They also say it will do 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers, but no, our best was 8 or just above 8 on a steady cruise into town. Driving up and down our undulating, beautiful countryside here in the Western Cape of Southern Africa, or South Africa, we got 10. During performance testing, we were tilting 12. So I'm afraid, like most Chinese cars, it is double of what they say. But to be fair, most cars, except really small Suzukis or something, most cars don't hit their mark unless you really, really try. And when I tried, I was about 2 liters over, so I guess that's forgivable. The fuel tank is 55 liters. The cargo capacity is insert numbers here, because I either forgot to find them or I couldn't find them. So we're going to put them in now. The car is about 4.7 meters long, 1.9 meters high, and I'm about to do a U-turn, and about 1.67 meters high. Yes, the height is 1.67 meters. What I also want to do, either in voiceover or I'll put it in now, is compare it to like established stuff, German cars or British or whatever, and I might put that in now so you can see roughly what the size is and what the specs are in comparison to most of its established rivals. Right, oh, very important. These cars all come with a 5-year 150,000 kilometer warranty and 5-year 100,000 kilometer service plan. There are terms and conditions also for the lifetime engine warranty. Bing! Yes, terms and conditions, it is not transferable. So it is for the first and only owner. It has to be fully GAC serviced, no commercial or racing usage, all of that. So if you use it as a normal person and you keep the car forever, they will guarantee or warranty the engine, terms and conditions apply, for the entire lifetime of the vehicle. Or the first owner, whatever comes first. Amazing, hey? Okay. Key specifications. I actually pulled over for this. It has 6 airbags, central locking, electric power steering, ABS, EBD, traction, vehicle stability control, a lot of driver aids, the active lane guide keeping, radar thing, blah blah blah, half self-autonomous driving. It can even tell the difference between a car and a bike. And there's a heads-up display, which you can only see if you don't have polarized glasses on. They come with 18 or 19-inch wheels, depending on the model. The lesser one has 18, this one has 19, and it actually still rides very well. It's got McPherson strut setup at the front, the suspension. The rear is a multi-link setup. There's a temporary spare wheel, which is good news for Namibians because they don't buy a car unless it has a spare wheel. You have a choice of 5 metallic colors. black, grey, silver, white, and sort of a light greeny blue. They call it green though. And yes, I think I've put all the dimensions on as well. We've got pros and cons coming next. And if I've forgotten anything else, I'm probably just going to add them here or there, or just keep rolling. This car has a lot of features. Yeah, if I were to get into its touchy-feely screen and the dials and well, actually that's not too complicated, but the screen has a lot of functions. Very, very impressive, especially at the price. Okay, I quickly wanted to touch on the design of this car, which, yeah, one of my friends alleged that nose looks like someone who fell asleep on a crocheted blanket. Someone said it's ugly, but to be honest, I think it's definitely unique looking and fairly stylish. That area, that bum is a bit big, a bit high, but I like some junk in the trunk, so doesn't concern me. And the rest, fake exhaust tips, or like styled ones, a rear diffuser on a 130 kilowatt crossover. Someone's been cleaning their teeth, very good, look after your gums. Part black, part machined alloys. I actually like all of this, it's not too bad. Every SUV crossover looks like a concept car nowadays. Isn't that a lovely problem to have? Door handles, I've got it set to manual. It also has proximity sensors, fully black leather to burn your bum in the African sun. Lock, unlock, does a bit of a song and a dance. I'll show you in the front just now. You can annoy your neighbors. Or it does that on your garage wall. Very cool, hey? I've also got it set to auto lock. If you're worried about the battery going flat or the handle breaking, the physical key, the bearded one, is in there, and the lock is. You see it? There it is. Right. I think that's it. Back to the review. Okay, as for the pros and cons, I thought what we could do is break it up into three parts. The negatives on one end, the positives on the other, and sort of, I call it ambivalent, not really deal breakers in the middle, which is also based quite a bit on my opinion and might be different in yours. So let's start with the negatives. First of all, where are all the dealers in Southern Africa? The website doesn't list any, or at least at this point it didn't. If you're watching this later, please let me know what your experience is, because that is very, very important, especially to a newcomer. You need to form a relationship with a dealer. You need to know where they are. This car has GAC Bryanston number plates, so I'm assuming up in Gauteng near Johannesburg. In Bryanston there is a dealer. The keyless entry on this car is really fancy, but it's proximity based, so you can activate it and deactivate it in the central command system, which is great. I love that. A lot of features of this car you can turn on and off. One of them is the proximity unlock and lock, so when you walk towards the car, you've got the key in your pocket, it'll automatically unlock and give you those fancy door handles. When you walk away, it locks itself. You can also turn off that it hoots, and hoots twice or whatever. I turn that off because I sometimes come home late at night from the bowling club and I don't want to wake my family. The other thing you can turn on and off is the windows going up by themselves. So if you left the window open and you walk away, the car proximity locks, it'll close the windows for safety reasons. I've turned that off because it's summer in the beautiful Western Cape, and yeah, sometimes I want to have the car inside my yard, it's safe, and I leave the windows open. Right, the next big thing, it's potentially a deal breaker to me. The gearbox is not the greatest, and it has no shift paddles. It's got a beautiful crystal inspired gear lever, but it has no way of manually interfering with the ratios or the gears, because it can get a bit confused and a bit infuriating because it doesn't select the right gear, in my opinion. And the only thing you can do, there you go, come on, find a clutch and a gear, thank you. There we are. You can only select forward and reverse and neutral. The park button is there. Actually, that's a pro. I'll just sneak that in. You can put your notes. I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't. You can put your notes up against the gear lever. It actually holds them very nicely. But yeah, one of my gripes, you cannot select gears. There are no shift paddles. So GAC, if you're seeing this, if you're watching our videos, thank you, first of all. And secondly, add some paddles, because that'll help a lot, and it gives you a bit of a sportier feel to most drivers. Yeah, speaking of which, the clutch pull away can be very infuriating. This car cannot do walking speed. It can do running speed, but walking speed, it lurches the whole time. Reverse uphill parking is okay, but in heavy traffic, it is not so good. And especially if you've come to a slow stop, it doesn't find a gear to pull off again. And the kick down, 1, 2, 3 and a bit seconds before it finds a gear and goes. I thought DCTs are like super fast and quick, and they can change gears faster than you can blink. But in this car, no. I will admit other DSGs are just as useless, or DCTs are just as infuriating. But in this car, if you want to overtake, you need to plan it, because this road is now completely empty. But let's say I've got a short gap. Come on. There we are. No, that is a deal breaker. That either has to be reprogrammed, and by the way, makes no difference what mode you're in. However, we're getting towards the end of the negatives. The other one, as you may have noticed, and I'll also put it in B-roll now, we'll run around the back of the car, it has no rear wiper. It's got heads-up display and automatic everything, but it does not have a rear wiper for the back screen, which I find very, very bizarre. Surely at this price, did they not do that on purpose, or did they do that on purpose to not include it? I'm a bit puzzled by that, and it's not a deal breaker, but it is quite infuriating again if you want to reverse and the car's dirty or there's rain on the windscreen. And the rear camera is okay, but I would like a rear wiper. And hot tip, we're going to get to that just now. The space age looking top spoiler third brake light thing, get rid of that, put in a fatter one and hide the wiper in the top. Just zoop, zoop, zoop. I think the Hyundai Tucson has that. There, job done. I'll put in my address for the commission. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. Now we're going to do ambivalent, sort of mild irritations. It's quite a long list because I really didn't know how to put these in, and I think I am going to stop here because it's just safer and easier. The wireless charger heated up the phone. We tested it with an iPhone 13 and a 13 mini. They both got extremely hot, so we decided not to do that again. We've had random short window switch malfunctions where they would just suddenly not work. Obviously, this is the demonstration effect. They are working perfectly fine. It was only once or twice, and we've not been able to replicate it. The switch has just got unresponsive. The rear seatbelt alarm will go off if you sit on the side and lean onto that middle bit there. It'll actually start binging and bonging, which, again, is a mild irritation. It's not a deal breaker in my eyes. Did I have rear passengers? Did I leave them somewhere? Anyway, the full panoramic glass roof is really cool, and it's got a powered cover, but it cannot open. And obviously you need to know this. If you leave it open, this basically becomes a glass house, and it's going to burn you. And you should always wear sunscreen in Southern Africa, because the sun is a killer, and my poor dad, hello Fada, is suffering from skin cancer. Anyway, the display controls are only for the occupied seat. I wrote that, and I don't know what that means. Oh, right. In the menu of the infotainment system, you have global controls for the windows. You can actually open and close windows from there. Seats as well, you can adjust seats. And I thought you can adjust all seats, but I think you can only adjust the seat you're sitting in somehow. I haven't figured that out. I do love, though, and it's going to come up as a pro as well, that there's a global close all windows and open all windows as well. We've driven into Cape Town a couple of times. We've done a bit of highway driving, and what we noticed is that from the rear windows, they're the 3/4, that little window at the back inside the rear door, there's quite a bit of wind noise from there. The outside mirrors aren't too bad, but both the rear windows have quite a bit of wind noise there. There is some road noise, but no more than other cars, especially those that have painted on tires, really low profile. These are the 19s, and they are GT Comfort. I believe they are Chinese. Fun fact, most cars, brand new, will come from the factory with tires made in that country. So these are obviously Chinese tires. That third brake light, which they call a mecha style spoiler, it looks insane. It mimics the bottom diffuser on the rear bumper as well. But what about cyclists in the EU, or pedestrians or motorbikists? If someone hits that, it's plastic, but I don't think that's going to pass any law in the EU, surely. Anyway, the Matrix LED headlights are very good. They put up a little song and dance when you start or stop the car. There's also a 3-mode song and dance, singing, flashing, music playing thing for the car to demonstrate to your friends and enemies. The auto high beam is okay, but it sometimes blinds traffic because it doesn't see cars. It gets confused also by multiple vehicles. I didn't like it. I turned it off. That's the bit I do like. You can turn it off and do it yourself. The ambient light, you've got these funky rings, or like circular designs. That bit on the passenger side actually controls the temperature of the climate control. The one on the driver's side has nothing, but it's got a round little ambient light ring in, as I think the doors do as well, and that reflects at night in your rearview mirror, and then you think something is either following you or next to you. The 3 drive modes are okayish, but we think they put them in the wrong way around, because Eco feels the most responsive, normal or comfort is slightly sluggish, and sport just revs higher but is also quite jerky. In Eco mode, this car pulls away and pulls into a corner or out of a corner with the best gear ratios or clutch control. We found, and it's not just me, it's my colleague, my wife, everybody thinks Eco is the best mode to be in. Speaking of the display, the cluster, the gauge cluster or the instruments, they are slightly limited in terms of their design. There are different views, I think 2 different views. The tachometer, the rev counter or RPM gauge, has 2 dots for uneven numbers and 1 dot for even numbers. No idea why. Shouldn't it be the other way around? And also, okay, it's marked to 8, but this engine shifts at 5.5 at its peak power, which I think also has something to do with the lifetime engine warranty. That it can probably do 6 or more, but they've restricted it to 5.5. That's where she shifts. There is no live fuel consumption readout. There are different trip meters, and there's a little graph, but there is no actual live one, and it fools you and says the best you've ever done was 7, which was when someone rolled downhill, I think. The clock gauge appears when you've got the audio off, but when you put the audio on, it takes over the clock, although you've got one there and one there. So it's a bit weird, but yeah, same as the exit menu button on the infotainment system. This one says fold up, and the next one is a little cross. So there's no consistency, but it's, to me, not a deal breaker. And then the crystal gear lever works as it should with a park button as well. That's fine, but the parking brake doesn't always activate or deactivate on its own. I'm not quite sure how that works, but it does its own thing, and not always when you think it should. Right, I think we should get to the best bits, or the good bits. Okie dokie. Let's get to the positives or the pros. Wow. And the first one, straight out the box, is obviously the price, which is amazing. So are the warranties. And now there's the price drop in January 2025. Never heard or seen that before. That is unprecedented and really bad news for all the competitors or anyone who's just bought one recently. But wow, this car is excellent, excellent value considering the space, comfort, and features. Next one, I might actually pull over to do this because I want to consult my list. Good indicator sound, decent turning radius, steering feels okay, actually sharpens up if you go to sport. It's got a very smooth ride, even with 19-inch wheels. Fairly pliant, not too many jolts. I realize it's a brand new car and all the bushings and everything is brand new, but compared to some sporty SUVs, I would take this any day. The furniture is very comfortable too, and the front ones have my second favorite feature ever in a car, which is heated seats, and my all-time favorite feature, ventilated seats. This one is currently ventilating me, and I do not want to leave this car. I absolutely love climate seats. One of my biggest pet peeves is the modern infotainment systems. When there are so many features in there and they don't put volume buttons in cars anymore. Same with this, there is a volume little scroller here. But what they did, I can go into reverse gear and everything disappears, but there are physical tap and slider buttons left and right. The right one is for audio and the left one is for fan speed. So while I'm reversing and my daughter's crying and I'm checking for the dog or the neighbor, I can still adjust the volume because then you can see better while reversing, and the speed of the aircon, which might have spooled up because the car was standing in the sun and I forgot the cover. This is all hypothetical, of course. It's got a full 360-degree parking camera. You can go to 3D and 2D mode and whatever, and what I absolutely love, it's not unique to this one, but it has a distance radar from about 30 centimeters onwards. It will say 30, 29, 25, I think it goes in that direction. So you can actually park a little bit better, which helps with this gearbox, which is a bit grabby at very low speeds. All the windows can be opened and closed if you hold down the button on the key fob. I absolutely love that. If the car's been standing in the sun at the beach, press and hold and all the windows drop down. It works in reverse as well. Just press and hold when you lock it and they all go back up again. A little birdie tells me that the key is waterproof because it may have been washed sometime in December and we found it on the washing line. I mean, they did. And it still works absolutely perfectly. So, waterproof key. It's a fairly good infotainment system. It's got a decent menu. It's got good home screen. There are quite a few features on there that you can set. And the menu structure is not too confusing. There is some Chinglish in there, and I did say the different exit buttons are bizarre, but not a deal breaker to me. It doesn't have Android Auto, but it does have something called Car Bit Link, so you can link it up. But to be honest, I'm an Android user. My girls are all iPhone. We used Bluetooth. We didn't use it. It didn't make a huge difference to me. You know what I forgot in the negatives? This car has an absolutely horrible sound system. It is very tinny and flat. It has, the definition is okay, but it has no punch, no roominess, no bass whatsoever. And trust me, we cranked everything to 11 or 12. We tried every mode. We tried different sources. Maybe it's okay to put this under positives? No, it should have been under negatives or ambivalent, because if you enjoy music, do not buy this car. The sound system is absolutely horrible. We've had all of that. Pros, yeah, I think that's about it. Absolutely love the furniture, the comfort, and of course the value proposition. Excellent. Okay, in conclusion, we really enjoyed our time with this car. There weren't too many frustrations once we figured out the drive modes and the various settings. Absolutely love the fact that you can turn most things on and off, and that it does actually do like a disco box speaker sound and light show for your friends. Comfortable, fairly fuel efficient, for the size, not bad. Would I buy one? No, I'm not an SUV kind of person, but if it came as a company car on a lease, especially at that price, I would seriously consider it. if you're in two minds about it, I always give people this advice: wait one generation. Just wait. Let them figure everything out first, establish their dealer network, and then buy the next one. So buy a Volkswagen or a Toyota now and put your name down for the next one. But if you have a dealer close by, and even if you know them, or you've got a good relationship with them, and you're an early adopter and you want amazing value for money, I would say go for it. Right. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we covered everything. Please let us know what you think. Comments below. Keep your hands on the wheel at all time. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.